Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today we're going to be going over what to buy and what to avoid this week in Grand Theft Auto Online. Before we get into the video, drop a like if you enjoy or if you learned something, and consider subscribing if you guys are new. Starting off with the car sitting here behind me, this is the Benefactor Schlagen GT, which is on sale this week and is also available to be stolen in the salvage yard, but unfortunately it is not claimable, so you can't keep it through there. But it's just kind of odd that it's on sale and available in the salvage yard. But anyway, really cool car, sounds awesome. Great customization, pretty good performance too. It's based off the Mercedes AMG GT in real life, and it can be made to resemble the AMG GTR as a matter of fact as well. So pretty cool car, definitely one that I do recommend picking up this week. We're going to talk about it a little bit more later. But before we talk about anything else this week, we got to talk about money, bonuses, and what's going on with money related stuff this week in GTA Online. So as I said in my update week video that I released yesterday, we have got a cooldown time change for dispatch work. Now dispatch work previously had a 5-minute cooldown on it. However, now it only has a 1-minute cooldown, which is pretty cool. So you're gonna get 25 grand every 5 minutes roughly for completing the dispatch work missions, but instead of having to wait an additional 5 minutes to start a new one, it's only 1 minute. So this actually became a much better way to make money in GTA Online now. Of course, you do have to own a police car to access it, which is really a scam in the first place, but it does mean that you can pay that police car off a lot faster due to this change. So that's pretty cool. Now, of course, the other money bonus that we have in GTA Online this week is going to be on the bunker. We got double money and double RP on the ammunition deliveries, I do believe it is. And we definitely do have double money and double RP on the bunker sell missions. So bunkers are going to be paying twice as much this week, which is really, really awesome. And if you need to complete bunker research is on 2 times speed this week as well. So if you're trying to unlock missiles for your Oppressor Mark 1 or the top-mounted dual miniguns for the weaponized Tampa or anything like that, this week is going to be a really good week to be doing that stuff. We've also had special vehicle races added back into GTA Online, so these are all going to be on double money and double RP for the remainder of this week, which is pretty cool. So that is something to look into if you guys are interested, and if you maybe don't have a bunker yet, that you can take advantage of that money bonus on. So these are pretty fun. A couple of them are really good. Water slide's fun. There's a few more that are even better than that. So check them out for sure if you guys get a chance to. I should also say that if you do complete 2 stunt races, which these special vehicle races count towards, you will get a bonus $100,000 this week as well. All right, and for a property discount this week, we have the hangar discount carrying over from last week. I thought that this was a typo, to be honest. I thought it was going to be bunkers for sure, given the fact that they're on double money and double RP, but it is the hangars. And this is of course due to the fact that we're getting that new hangar next week with the update coming to GTA Online on March 4th. So that's pretty cool, and I believe from what people have said that you're going to need to own a hangar in order to get the expanded hangar, which is going to be at the Mackenzie Airfield, as far as I understand it, as far as we know right now. Now take that with a grain of salt. Don't go out and buy a hangar just because I said that, but that is what people seem to be thinking is going to happen. So do with that information what you will, but yeah, take it with a grain of salt for sure. As I said last week, the best hangar to buy, in my opinion, is probably Fort Zancudo Hangar 3499. Due to the fact that it's in the military base, you get access to the military base, and it's also the closest to the highway. And I also found out from the comments, thanks to you guys, that your car spawns much closer to you when you have this hangar versus if you have the one that I have, which is 3497. So that is something that is important to note, I do suppose. And for those of you that missed last week's what to buy and what to avoid, the only things that you really need to focus on putting in your hangar is the workshop and maybe the living quarters, but that's only if you want to spawn there. Everything else is, you know, completely cosmetic and does not matter, will not help to make you more money or anything like that. So keep that in mind. Starting off with the vehicle discounts, we have the Vapid Festival bus, 50% off this week, which I don't want you to think that 50% off is a good discount for this thing, because the vehicle sucks. So don't buy a Vapid Festival bus this week. This thing is awful, and you will regret your decision. Even for under 700k, this thing is terrible. I would highly advise you to avoid buying the festival bus this week. Over on Elitist Travel, we have 2 plane discounts this week. One is on the Vestra, the other is on the Cuban 800. Now the Cuban 800 sucks. It is absolutely awful. Even for 168k, it's not worth buying this plane. A, it's a Pegasus vehicle. B, you can go to the airport and get one anyways, and C, it's slow as fuck. It is so slow. You do not need a Cuban 800. Please, for the love of God, do not buy one. Now, the Vestra, on the other hand, for 665k, it is a lot of money for an unarmed plane in GTA Online. I would advise you to save up double this money and get the Rogue. But if you did want a cool 2-passenger jet to fly around in that's pretty quick, that also has pretty good maneuverability and everything, the Vestra is a plane that you might be interested in. However, I would say avoid this one as well, because I just don't think it's worth it for the money. At the end of the day, it is a Pegasus vehicle. Now, granted, you can make it into a personal aircraft in your hangar if you take it to your hangar, but it's not upgradable still. So it's still going to be the same speed, same handling, everything like that. So I would advise against buying a Vestra as well. On Legendary Motorsport, starting off under the 2-door section with the Schlagen GT, like I showed you guys right at the start of the video, going for $910,000 this week. And for that price, I feel like this thing is actually a pretty decent car, given the customization and the overall performance of the vehicle. However, if you have a Grotti Italia GTO, or any of the other top sports cars in GTA Online, they're going to render this thing obsolete performance-wise. So really the only reason to buy this thing is if you like good customization on cars, cars that are fun to drive, cars that sound good, and cars that look good. The Schlagen GT ticks all of those categories, and it is fairly fast. It's just not as fast as some of the other top sports cars that are also in its class. It's an awesome vehicle. If you got some extra money lying around, you may want to consider purchasing it. I personally really like it. I own 4 of them. There's a reason for that. Do with that information what you will. Additionally, we also have the Vapid GB200, which is a fantastic rally car that has all-wheel drive and some pretty good customization, and also sounds absolutely incredible. This thing is easier to drive than the Benefactor Schlagen GT, I would say, because it's all-wheel drive, but it's not as fast. So comparatively, I mean, they both have their pros and cons. This thing is more of a rally car. The Schlagen GT is more of a sports car or a race car. Both of them are cool. GB200 for under 700k is not a bad price, all things considered. I do feel like this is a fairly fair price, so if you do want a GB200, now is certainly a good time to buy one. However, if you're not really in the market for a GB200, if you don't really care about the car, I would say you could kind of take it or leave it. Under the 4-door section on Legendary Motorsport, we got the Pfister Astron available this week for $1,106,000. However, I will just say the Pfister Astron Custom is releasing on March 4th on the PC platform. So if you play on PC in particular, I would advise you to not buy the Pfister Astron, because we're getting the Pfister Astron Custom, which is a wide-bodied version of this thing that also is HSW capable, meaning that it is way faster than the regular Astron, and it has pretty much the exact same customization. So I would advise against buying a Pfister Astron, especially if you play on PC. If you play on any other platform, it's still a decent SUV. It still looks really good. The customization's nice. It handles well. It's all-wheel drive. It's a good SUV by all means. However, the Pfister Astron Custom, if you have it available to you, is just simply better. And we also have the Ocelot Jugular available on Legendary Motorsport. This is the fastest 4-door car in GTA Online formerly. Now, I do think it has been overtaken by quite a number of cars now, but it is still pretty awesome. It's all-wheel drive, it's 4 doors, it sounds absolutely incredible. It shares its sound with the Ocelot XA21, if you guys are familiar with that, as well as the Lampadati Komoda, if you're familiar with that car as well. The customization for this thing is okay. It's not as good as the Schlagen, for example, but it's still decent. Overall, it's a fun car to drive. It sounds really good. It's nice. I would say for the money, if you got the trade price, I'd say you should probably purchase it. If you don't have the trade price, probably avoid it for most people, unless you really want a Jugular and you've had your eye on this car for some time. And under the motorcycles tab on Legendary Motorsport, we got the Western Reaver for $1,330,000. This thing has an insane speed glitch on the PC platform in particular, but I do believe it is also on console as well, but do take that with a grain of salt, as I don't play on console. but I have heard people say that it is really fast there too. This thing has a speed glitch where if you wheelie, it will just go insanely fast. It also has decent handling for a bike, and it is one of the fastest motorcycles in the entire game. For this price, I feel like it is probably worth it if you did want to do some motorcycle races. However, if you have the Hakuchu Drag with HSW on your platform, which PC is about to, it will render the Reaver to be mostly useless, I would say. Moving on to Warstock Cash and Carry, we got the Benefactor turreted limo for $1,155,000. I do not advise you to buy this thing. Now, it can be kind of cool because if you are a CEO, you can spawn it as a CEO vehicle, plus you can call Pegasus to get it. But unfortunately, it is not a personal vehicle, so you can't store this in a garage and call it through your mechanic or whatever like that. So for that reason alone, I think it's not really too worth it. Plus, the armor on the vehicle is not that great. It has bullet resistant windows, but they can only take about 15 shots from an assault rifle, and the minigun that sits on top of it leaves the gunner very exposed and doesn't do all that much in the way of damage, and it can only take 2 explosives. So for the money, I do not think this vehicle is worth it, unfortunately. Even though it is pretty cool looking and everything like that, I just don't think it's worth it. Over on Southern San Andreas Super Autos, under the 4-door section, we got the Zirconium Journey 2. Please, please, please do not buy this. It is so bad. And for the money, like, no matter what price you pay for it, even if you got it for free, it's not worth it. The Zirconium Journey 2 is not worth it. Please, for the love of God, it's so slow. The customization is super mid. It's basically just a clean version of the Zirconium Journey, which has existed in GTA Online since release, and you can see driving around in Sandy Shores and Grapeseed usually. It's just dreadfully slow and awful. Please don't buy one. Moving on, we do have the Karen Sultan Classic for $901,950 to $1,202,600. If you have the trade price, I would say this car is a lot more worth it. For this price, I would not purchase it unless you've had your eye on it for a long time and you've been waiting for it to go on discount. But I do feel like there could be a better discount on this car. Customization wise, it's pretty decent. It's also all-wheel drive, so it's good off-road and on-road and in rain or snow, but I don't really think this car is super worth either of the price tags. It's a fun car to drive, it looks kind of good, but other than that, I mean, it's not that awesome. Customization wise, it's not even that amazing either. It's got some good options, like it's got some good bumper options and hood options and stuff like that, but overall, I just don't think this car is worth this much money, unfortunately, to just tell the truth. However, if you've had your eye on it, like I said, or if you really want one, by all means, don't listen to me and get one for yourself. Because of the BF Dune Buggy discounted this week, it is 30% off, so if you want it, it's 14 grand instead of 20 grand. So, I mean, you kind of can't go wrong with that. I would say buy one. It's 14 grand. What do you have to lose, right? It's a pretty good vehicle. It's pretty fun to drive, so I'd say go for it. And last but not least, for the vehicle discounts, we get the Obey iWagon, and this thing is god-awful. It has a pathetically weak top speed. It's fully electric, if you didn't understand that by the iWagon name tag. And it's $1.2 million, which is way too much money for this thing, and the regular price is way too much money for this thing. I would not buy an iWagon. I don't like it. I think it's pretty dreadful performance-wise. It doesn't make any sort of an engine sound. The customization is pretty lackluster and honestly pretty off-putting. I just don't think it's a good vehicle. I would avoid it like the plague. The podium vehicle within the casino is the Karen Everon. This thing is pretty awesome. You should definitely come to the casino, try to win it every day. It's got great customization. It's a really good off-roader. I think it's a great looking truck. I would definitely try to win it. Alright, and the LS Carmery prize ride for the week is the Vapid Retinue Mark II. And in order to win this, you're going to place top 3 for 4 days in a row, which is a relatively easy challenge. This car is pretty cool. It's got a lot of good customization. Fairly fun to drive. I would say try to win it if you can. Within the car mate, we got 3 removed vehicles. We got the Dubachi Rapid GT Classic on the left, the Grotti Stinger in the middle, and the Ocelot Locust on the right. The Ocelot Locust is by far my favorite car out of these 3. It handles absolutely incredibly. It's a great driver's car in GTA Online. Now, unfortunately, it is at full price this week, which means it's $1,625,000. So it is a little on the steeper end of things for what you're getting, especially performance-wise, but it is a really, really fun car to drive, and I do mean that. In the middle, we got the Grotti Stinger. This thing has absolutely zip for customization. Nothing that can be done to it. Maybe you can remove the roof. I think that's it at most. least. $850,000 for it. I would say for that price, it is not worth picking up, in my honest opinion. I would avoid this thing. It's not that great. And the Dubachi Rapid GT Classic has some great customization options for it. It's also a great performing sports classic car in GTA Online. I believe it's the 3rd or 4th fastest now in the game, which is pretty good. It goes for $885,000, which is kind of a lot of money, but at the same time, it's not too much money. I would say the Rapid GT Classic is doable this week for that amount. Honestly, a really good car. All right, next up at Simeon's, we got a bunch more removed vehicles in here available. We got the Enos Stafford on the left here. Not the greatest car ever, I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty slow. It's not that fun to drive. It's also a little bit on the expensive side, just under $1.3 million. I would say this car is one to avoid this week unless you particularly like it. Moving on to the Karen 190Z, which is actually a pretty sweet vehicle. I do actually like the Karen 190Z quite a bit, even though it does look really dopey with the wide body kit on it. For $923,000, that is a little bit steep in my opinion. I don't really think it's worth that price, honestly. Moving on to the Benefactor Strider, we got the off-road Mercedes here. This thing's pretty crazy looking. Unfortunately, not much in the way of customization, and even $500,000 price tag. If you want a good off-roader, this thing is actually pretty solid. It's not a bad vehicle at all. I would say give it a shot. At least test drive it this week. It's pretty fun. We also got the Enos Super Diamond in here as well. The Super Diamond is a $250,000 four-door car that is OG in GTA Online. It's been around for literally forever, and it has no customization, but for $250K you kind of can't go wrong with it. In my opinion, it's a really fun car to drive, so I do like it quite a lot. And of course, last but not least, we got the Velcar Feijoa. This thing's got some really great customization, honestly. It's also got a European plate on it, which is pretty cool. Overall, it's a great car, and I do recommend the Velcar Feijoa. This thing is absolutely awesome. 335 grand, not a bad price, all things considered. It is an awesome car. Within luxury autos, we got regular traffic here. We got the overflawed Pipistrello on the left, and we also have the Karen Astro GZ on the right. Both these cars are nothing really special. $2,972,800 for the Pipistrello, and for the Karen Astro GZ, it is $480,660. Neither of these cars are worth the amount of money that they cost. I would avoid both of them this week. Within the chop shop, these are the vehicles that are available to be stolen, but of course you cannot keep any of them as a personal vehicle, so do take that into consideration here. In order to get the Class C Drift Yosemite, you're going to need to complete the cargo ship robbery. In order to get the Grotti GT500, you're going to need to complete the Duggan robbery, and for the Benefactor Schlagen GT, you will need to complete the Gangbanger robbery. Within the Garment Factory, the Fine Art file is the priority file for the week, so if you want to make double money, that is the one to do. Alright guys, and the gun van location for today is at the power station on the eastern side of the map. You can find it right here. And in the gun van this week, we have, what do we have? Let's see. We got the heavy rifle. It's pretty ass. If you don't have it, I wouldn't buy it. We got the compact EMP launcher, also kind of ass. I wouldn't necessarily buy it if you don't have it. Battle rifle, definitely ass. I would not buy it if you don't have it. Compact grenade launcher, it's decent. I just don't have one because I don't like it in my loadout. I know there's custom loadouts, don't worry about that. And of course, we got the pump shotgun, which can be made into the Mark II variant. For throwables, we got the proximity mine, sticky bomb, and Molotovs, which is pretty cool. And body armor is, yeah, regular price, I guess. So there you have it for the gun van. And now, of course, last but not least, it's time to talk about the time trials for the week. Your RC Bandito time trial is Construction Site 1. Your Junk Energy time trial is Sewer System. Your regular time trial is Grove Street. And your HSW time trial is Textile City to Stab City. So it's going to start right here on the map, and it's going to end all the way up at Stab City in Sandy Shores. So now, you guys, there you have it. That has been it for what to buy and what to avoid this week in Grand Theft Auto Online. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed the video, or if you learned something. Dislike if you didn't, of course, and consider subscribing to my channel if you guys are new. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, take care. Peace.